All right, Miles, let's move on to the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are 1-2, and they're one of the more exciting teams in the NFL right now, especially offensively. So many big playmakers have been doing a lot of really good things on that side of the ball. And I know you have a really interesting and exciting story to talk about this Atlanta Falcons offense. But before I hand it off to you, Falcons fans, we want to hear from you in the comment section below. Give us a guy who's really jumped out of the page through the first 3 weeks of the NFL season. Give us a guy maybe a little bit under the radar who's made a really big impact, who you're excited to see what he does the rest of the year. But Miles, what's the latest out of Atlanta?
Well, no, the guy that jumped out to me, definitely not under the radar, is obviously probably my favorite Atlanta Falcon, Cordarrelle Patterson. Great player. You know, we've talked about him ad nauseum, so I'm not going to get too much into that. But let's get into the story, Nick. So, outside of being the ninth best scoring offense, who would have thought that at the beginning of the season?
We
Everyone
did,
has,
right? We didn't. We
yeah,
didn't. I think we did a video where we ranked them pretty high, and everyone thought we were stupid, right? So
yes, this offense crazy good. So ninth best scoring offense in the NFL so far, 80 points scored this season. There's a little bit deeper stat I want to get into, Nick, and that's the Falcons have gone 3-and-out 9% of the time, and that is the fourth best rate in the NFL. And what is the best way to score points in the NFL, Nick? Not to go 3-and-out. So
yeah,
that is a pretty hot start. I think 3-and-out is probably one of the most demoralizing things that can happen on offense. You know, your defense gets the stop, gets the turnover, whatever you get scored on, you go out and then boom, 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 as fast as possible, you get sent back to the sideline and you're no longer a factor in this game anymore. And to win games, your offense has to be a factor and the defense has to get the stops. So when you're not playing, like we talked about a lot lately, complementary football, that's bad. The offense has been doing their part. Obviously, fourth best rate at not going 3-and-out. That's pretty big. Ninth best scoring offense. That's also pretty big. So this Atlanta Falcons offense has been pretty special so far, even though nobody has given them any credit so far. Preseason, all kinds of stuff. Everyone was saying this is the worst roster we've seen in the history of rosters. So that's obviously not true. But
yeah.
Nick, what do you think about those stats?
Yeah, so and what's more interesting to me talking about this offense is look what they've done in the competition they played. They did that against the Saints. They moved the ball up and down the field against New Orleans, a top-tier defense if there ever was one. They did it against the Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. They got guys like Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Bobby Wagner, right? They did it in Seattle, where the Seahawks are a young, fast, athletic defense. This is not a bad defense that the Seattle Seahawks have. The Falcons have been able to execute and move the ball against all those guys and score as well. That's what really gets me excited. But really, 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 like when I look at this offense, what really gets me really pumped, if I can't say the word really too many more times in a couple of sentences, is what Drake London has done. This is a guy who I thought was a potential rookie of the year guy, and he's come out and blown out everybody's expectations. I mean, according to PFF, he is the highest rated rookie wide receiver, higher than Garrett Wilson, higher than Chris Olave. Not only that, though, he is the number seven rated wide receiver overall, according to PFF. He's in the conversation with guys like Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel. That's the level of performance they're getting out of Drake London. And when you have guys like Cordarrelle Patterson, you got Kyle Pitts, who's starting to get involved more and more. Marcus Mariota right now is having quietly kind of a nice year. He's having a career high in yards per passing attempt. This offense is really kind of moving in a really strong direction, and I'm really excited to see what Drake London specifically is going to do the rest of the way.
Let me hit you with this stat, though, Nick. Drake London, highest graded player on the Falcons' entire team. So right now, this guy you got, rookie, highest graded player on the Falcons. So that's a pretty big one as well. Come in second as another key part to not going 3-and-out. Great blocking. Obviously, Chris Lindstrom for the Falcons has been doing pretty good. But I like what you said about Mariota. Mariota is a guy who we kind of knocked him early on. We said maybe he's not the answer. And to be fair, I still don't think he's the answer long term. But he's been playing such clean football so far. And it's really nice to see, you know, he's doing what he needs to do. I think he could be a little bit more dynamic with these playmakers. And that's kind of why we've hinted at that we want to see Desmond Ridder come in and see what he can do. But at this point, when Mariota is getting the job done, you have so many good players like Cordarrelle Patterson who can hand it off to Kyle Pitts, who they've started to feed the ball a little bit more towards early on in the season. he really wasn't getting any looks. Obviously, he got the most looks over this big win over the Seahawks. And then Drake London, obviously a star in the making early on. This offense is doing what it needs to do to win the game. So that's all you can ask for at this point, is you just have to do enough to win the game and get yourself on down the line so you can see what the future is going to be. And this team is going to grow and it's going to develop and it's going to get better as the season goes on, don't you think?
Well, especially let's consider how good Arthur Smith has been as a play caller. That's what he came in from the Tennessee Titans, the running game, the play action off of it, the big plays. And we're starting to see that with London and Pitts. But I want to focus again, I want to shift to the running game. I just looked this up because I almost forgot about it. Cordarrelle Patterson is number 3 in the NFL in rushing yards right now. He is not far behind guys like Saquon Barkley and Nick Chubb. He's ahead of guys like Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift. Like, he is outpacing these guys. And a lot of it's, Cordarrelle Patterson. He's a really nice player. But let's give some credit to the offensive structure and the play action game and all of those things that Arthur Smith likes to do, because it's gotten Kyle Pitts, Drake London involved, making big plays down the field. It's also opened up running opportunities for Cordarrelle Patterson. But you brought up a guy too in Chris Lindstrom. This offensive line too has played a lot better than a lot of people thought. There were some question marks on how good they were going to be. They've done a really respectable job through the first 3 weeks of the season. Again, this offense is just, we talked about it in the preseason. Everyone said it was a mediocre offense. It's not. It was better. We thought it was average to above average. It's actually even exceeded our expectation. This is a quality offense. If they can really fix up the defenses a little bit, the Atlanta Falcons can make a lot of noise the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I think this offense, people have said, has been kind of mimicking Arthur Smith's offense in Tennessee. They're saying the offense didn't have a strong enough running back. People question, whether he'd be able to do that. And to your credit, obviously, Cordarrelle Patterson has been a good enough running back so far this season. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do down the stretch.